What up, guys? Welcome to the Justpearlythings YouTube channel. Today, I have two special guests on the channel. Welcome, Nick Fuentes.
Hi, what's going on?
And welcome, Gabby.
Hi, what's going on?
Today, we are going to be reacting to my favorite content creator in the whole wide world, Candace Owens. Gabby, what do you think of Candace Owens?
She's pretty.
Yeah? You like her?
She's pretty.
What do you think of Candace Owens?
I like her. I think she's pretty too. And I think she's pretty base.
Question
I thought that was.
I thought that was she's married.
Do you think it was wrong for Candace to race mix?
Yeah, I think it's wrong to race mix.
So I have a
general.
question.
Yeah.
So you don't agree with race mixing, but do you find black women attractive?
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I've said that before.
Okay.
Okay. Now this is especially interesting because Gabby has a black boyfriend, you know? So it's like, you think that's wrong?
I do.
Yeah, she should break up with him?
I do think that, yeah. I prefer that she wasn't doing that.
Don't you said...
Oh, does it make you uncomfortable, Nick?
No. No, but it's wrong.
Why?
Why is it wrong?
She should find a nice Catholic Italian
But
man.
I thought she's tainted now.
I'm tainted. I have tattoos.
Well, I mean, she is, so it's going to be a hard time for her, but
Yeah.
Okay.
she's got to live with that.
Oh, okay.
I'm living with it just fine. I'm doing just fine over here, baby. I'm good.
I believe you.
Okay, so now we're actually not talking about race mixing, I think. Let's do the video. Could you make the video a little bigger? I just feel like we could. Is that possible? Okay. The camo. You're back in the camo again?
Back in the camo.
I didn't even think you were wearing
And the
a jacket.
Ralphomania t-shirt. What's up?
So I didn't even see you wearing a jacket
You
there.
didn't see me at all.
Yeah.
Saw a floating head.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Just pants and a head.
Are harsh here. Well, penalties are harsh here in Thailand, so there's not a lot of crime, you know.
Is it? What's going on? It's not moving. I think it's a different video. Yeah. You go? Okay.
Increasingly, you're telling women to be the opposite of what I think men want, right? The opposite, maybe in the instant when men are not thinking with their big heads and they're saying, oh, whoa, she's half naked, great, I'm going to go for it. That might be what a man wants. But long term, that's not what a man wants. A man doesn't want a girl that's just going to be naked all the time and put herself out there available for every man to see. You know, that I don't have to be a man to know that that's not what men want. So then you say men suck. And I ask this question all the time. You complain about men, but are you being the type of a woman that a man would want, right?
Yo, what's up, guys? Before we get started, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We are almost at 300,000 subscribers, and we would love for you guys to help us make it happen. So hit the subscribe button, and let's get started with today's video.
You know what I always say? Experiment with both and tell me what makes you feel better. And that is the truth when it comes to young women, because I dedicated my first episode to young women and really talking to them about these are the options that are being presented to you. Less, take off more clothes, you know, do the most to get attention, right? If you think that that's freedom, the idea that you have to wear less and the idea that you have to get naked to be heard, you really think that's a form of freedom? Because that's slavery, that's bondage. I didn't have to take off my clothes to be heard in society. And these women will realize that when you follow these people that are...
Do you think women should be heard at all in society?
That's a good question. No. Should not be seen or heard.
Not even, nothing?
Well, what are we hearing them for?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like when she says, I need to be heard as a woman. It's
Do you think
like,
Candace Owens should be heard?
I don't think it's really necessary. I mean, there's a lot of guys saying what Candace Owens is saying. And often what you'll find is that guys will say something and women will say it, but then they're women. So they'll get all these like horny boomers who will watch that instead. Like they need to hear Lauren Southern say it because Lauren Southern like keeps their attention, you know?
What do you think? Gabby, what do you think?
Are you real? Like, is this really what you think?
What is wrong about what I just said?
Women should be seen and heard. Like, are we just not people? Like, just because we have a vagina, we're not people with brains and cognitive function?
See, I'm like, okay, at first I'm like, well, I have a podcast and I enjoy doing this. But I was thinking about it. Like, if I look at it from a society perspective, right, take myself out of it. Because as women, we always make it about us. That's our first thing.
It's true.
And I'm like, as a society, we probably would be better if women weren't heard. as a society, just think about it. Who's talking the most nonsense on the internet? Is it men or women?
Nick Fuentes. That's who's talking the most nonsense.
I'm spitting facts. What are you saying that needs to be heard? Like, what if you're a woman that needs to be heard? What
Did
is
I
it?
say that I was? No.
Okay.
I'm just the personality hire. I add a little bit of spice.
Okay, so you don't have anything that needs to be heard, is what you're saying.
but you're pretty, so you need to be seen.
There you go. See? Case closed.
I do really like Candace Owens, though. I
like her.
Yeah, I'm okay with her. How about it's only the podcast where the women agree with the men?
Yeah, sure. They do the weather.
Self-imposed feminists. I'm a feminist. I do this. I'm a feminist. You hear that word over and over and over again. You'll find that the majority of them are miserable. Look at their lives and ask yourself a question. Do you think they are happy? Do you feel good when you do what they do? Right? When you're constantly looking for a dopamine hit from social media because you took your clothes off and you want somebody in your comments, a thirst trap with your ass out, right? And you want someone in your comments going, "Oh, you slay, bae. You slayed the day, bae." Hashtag Tuesdays, am I right?
Yeah.
And you do this stuff for attention, and you're devaluing yourself, and at the end of the day you don't actually feel good, and it's not going to bring you happiness, right? So yeah, you can get guys sliding in your DM, you can get guys telling you look good, you can get guys that want to sleep with you. How many of these people actually get guys that want to stay with you, right? Are not in somebody else's DM. The same way that you found him is the same way he's going to find somebody else, because we are increasingly becoming a part of a society that's ADHD. You want to know why our grandparents stayed together? Because they weren't looking at ass cheeks all day on Instagram and refreshing it and going, "Oh, well, that girl looks younger, that girl looks better, that girl's face tuned," and I think that is what these young women that they're following are telling them. You've got 13-year-olds getting lip injections, right? Because they want to look like Kylie Jenner. Again, not a shot to Kylie Jenner, but what society have we created that ever made Kylie Jenner feel like she had to go out and buy those lips, that she had to contour her entire face and change her entire body? She was already a beautiful...
I feel like women do that shit for other women, not men. Men do not want girls with lip filler.
You think?
No, men do want.
I don't think so.
Okay, then why do women or men always go for women that have lip filler?
For like
everywhere.
For a one-night thing, and not a long-term thing.
Guys like the bimbo look.
Do you like the bimbo look?
No, I don't. I kind of like the more plain, like girl next door kind of look. Not the bimbo plastic surgery, that whole deal. I don't like that.
I think there's women that are so beautiful that have the filler and the plastic surgery, and that's the first thing I see when I look at them. I'm like, oh, clearly you have chin filler, Botox, nose job, but you must have been so much more beautiful before. But also, it's just about it's all personal, whatever they feel better in. But it's what society has, because now every girl has lip filler. Walk down the street,
And Botox. I can see it in their forehead. They don't move. It's so... Even the girls last night, you could tell.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah, it's like, bruh. But they were old, they were kind of old. I just don't like the work done. I like the natural look, because a natural look has integrity. Because when you think about it, actually, your look reflects your values. Everybody says, "Oh, that's only skin deep. Don't judge a book by its cover." You actually should judge a book by its cover, because the cover reflects often what is within. Even like a book. If you take a book and you're like, treating it like shit and stuff, well, then it's going to look bad. And the same is true with human beings. Like if you're a lazy person and you eat garbage all day and you have no self-control and you drink a big gulp all the time and then you look fat and ugly, it's like, well, that reflects a lack of discipline, a lack of character. So there's actually more to do with how we look and how we are than maybe what a lot of people would like to believe. Maybe more so than people are comfortable with. That's not to say the looks are everything, but it is to say that often they reflect choices which matter.
I can agree with that. Like for me personally, all my tattoos, I got them at a very young age, and I didn't realize till I got older the reason I got them was because there were certain things I went through when I was young that made me want to appear more like threatening and less I didn't want people to be able to feel inviting to see me as weak. So, but I didn't realize that's why I was getting them. And now that I'm older, I'm like, well, they're all over. What do I do now? I don't want them anymore, So
I think that more women should hear that, because you don't hear a lot of women with tattoos talk about that they regret their tattoos.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of girls do. A lot of times they just won't admit it later.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it took me a while to even come to that conclusion that I'm like, why did I do this? Why would I do this to my body at such a young age too? Because you can get them removed. The removal process is.
My sister got her first one at like 15, 16.
And it's true. People look at you different with tattoos. Like, I have them on my hands. I can't hide that. There's certain jobs there I will never be able to get because I have ink all over me. I used to work with children when I was younger. I love kids. No one who would want to hire me as a nanny with, tattoos all over me.
Yeah. Well, and it's good that you say that, because I feel like for a lot of people, it's hard for them to admit that, because, people make a decision and they almost feel like invested in the decision.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes along and says, oh, that was a mistake, and especially something that's irreversible, you almost feel like you have to own it and say, well, and hang on and defend that decision. And that's true with I think a lot of feminism. People go down a certain path. They may regret it. They may be miserable, but they're like, it's like this sunk cost fallacy. They're like, well, I'm already here. What am I going to do? In other words, to admit they're wrong, their whole life would have to unravel in a certain sense, and maybe some of their esteem. So it's important that people are able to admit their mistakes. Time is always right to do what's right.
Girl. So the society is ill. It's not normal, right? Don't let these people convince you that that's normal. That's cancer, and that cancer will become contagious to you if you accept that. You don't follow better role models.
It seems to me a lot of women, when they hear conservative values, the trigger to them, and I could be wrong, the trigger to them, it seems as, bondage, go back in the kitchen, shut up and just, just be a slave to your husband. Why do you feel like there's so
We like being in the kitchen. Can we talk about this? Why do they always act like being in the kitchen is bondage? I like the kitchen.
Not every woman does. Not every woman does.
I think a lot of women would I feel like when I did not like cooking, it was because I didn't understand how. And I would just get frustrated. But honestly, once you start learning how to cook, it's fun.
Yeah, but everyone's different. I mean, I grew up cooking. I grew up in an Italian household. You know how it is. So to me, that's my love language, to feed people. When I cook in excess because I need to feed everyone in the house. But that's just how I was raised. Not everyone's raised like that. It's not everyone's thing. So
yeah, I understand it's not everyone's thing. But I think more women than not, I think they would be happy in the kitchen if they learned how to cook.
I think so, too. I don't like to cook because I can't cook anything, but it sounds like a fun thing for women to do. If I could cook, I probably would, because it is like a love language, to make food for people. I just can't do it.
Do you think men should always take out the trash? Do you believe in gender roles in the household?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I think the man should mow the lawn. That's like a guy chore.
It's funny.
What?
Growing up, we very much had the men and women chores divided, so much so that my brother is deathly allergic to grass.
Oh yeah.
And I never mowed the lawn. ever. And he is dying on the freaking lawn.
Gotta man up. That's a guy chore.
Yeah, and honestly, he's a tough kid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that kind of thing.
When they're hearing about some of the things that you say, like what makes you happy is making your husband a sandwich. Some people are like, that sounds crazy, right? So why do you think there's such a disgust, such a rejection of that kind of idea of that kind of woman in regards to modern society? Because
we're being brainwashed via the education system.
Okay.
You learn feminism in school. Right, you learn feminism. I had to actively
define
learn it.
And for clarification, how do you define feminism?
I can tell you how they define it and what it actually is. Right, so feminism in school, when you learn it, is you're just fighting against the patriarchy, and you're supposed to see the patriarchy everywhere. It's the same way that critical race theory and race is being taught. The idea is they're not actually teaching you anything but how to hate white people when you're learning about race in school. And when you are learning about feminism, they're not actually teaching you anything other than how to hate men and to see the patriarchy and men putting you down everywhere, right? So when you have that form of psychological conditioning taking place in the school system, you're producing women that see the patriarchy everywhere. It becomes like a paranoia, right? Oh my God, if asked me to make a sandwich, I'm not gonna make a sandwich, and then that's it, I'm trapped. And they're actually not realizing that there actually was an incentive behind you even being taught that you've never actually lived the life of making a husband a sandwich, and they think that's going to send you back and suddenly you're going to lose your voting rights and you're not going to be able to go get work. You know, there was a time.
Gabby, do you think your opinion on the patriarchy has changed in the last year?
Yeah, I don't hate men as much.
Why'd you hate them before?
Because my whole life I was abused by men. So I had an internal hate for them. You know, it was men that were close to me. And you know, in Red Pill, they're always like, oh, trauma. But, you know, you're like sexually abused at a young age. How can you not hate men? You know? So, yeah.
What switched your mind a bit? Pearl.
Realizing that men are people too.
Do you think that in schools they're taught that, like, it's almost like men are looked at as subhuman?
Yeah, I think so. I think that I feel like everything in society has this tone now of like, there's like a preferred group and a group that is not preferred. And it's with race, sex, religion. It's like, and you know, it's all these categories.
Who's more preferred, a trans woman or a woman?
Oh, a trans woman,
okay.
Of course. But it's like, you know, it's like if you're like non-white is preferred over white, women preferred over men, other religions preferred over Christianity. Like, I feel like it's not even just in the schools, but that's just like the tone of the whole society. It's like, you know, even the conversations we had the other day, it's like, well, white doesn't have flavor. You know, it's all the non-white groups that are spicy and flavorful and interesting. And oh, you're just like a boring white, you know, and if you're like a guy versus a girl, it's like in school, women heroes are celebrated. Hey, it's girl power. It's International Women's Day. Oh, you're just like a guy. You're like a nuisance.
I was so annoyed in that one movie with Scarlett Johansson. You know what I'm talking about? The superhero one. I don't know the name, but it was
Black Widow.
No, it was Avengers, I think. I'm not a big movie person, but I think I saw the end of that one because my brother was watching it. And I was just thinking how unrealistic this shit was.
I know.
Scarlett Johansson, what the hell is she saving me from?
Yeah.
What is she going to do? It's like, they have these, because as an athlete, if you're going to pick women to be the heroes, can you give me athletic women?
Yeah.
At least to make it a little more realistic, but you're going to send me, what is she, 5'1"?
Yeah.
What is a if anyone, I should be in that movie.
You should
Gabby should be in that movie.
Good thing it's not real.
No, I agree with you. That's why I like the new Batman, because in the new Batman, they both go to the house and Batman and Catwoman fight, and Batman beats the shit out of Catwoman like it's not even close. Because she tries to fight him and he just like pushes her up against the wall and just like totally. And I was like, yeah, because that's exactly how it would go. Batman wouldn't be Batman if he could get his ass kicked by a woman. And in the end, he's on the ground, he gets shot with a gun, and Catwoman's about to get like raped by this one of the Riddler's guys, and Batman shoots his leg with adrenaline or something. It goes up, and he throws the guy on the floor, and he's punching his face in. And it was like a male rage that like only men could have that superhuman like rage effect ability. So I thought that was very red pill. The Marvel stuff is all like, you know, you had Captain Marvel fly in the last Avengers and she saves the day. That's not even for a movie. Suspension of disbelief only goes so far. Not realistic.
You have thoughts. I can see it.
It's a movie. That's all I'll say.
You don't think movies should reflect reality?
It's creative. It's art. They're superheroes. They fly. They have powers. Like, it's not reality.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, it's like when they're pushing it. It's like they'll push an agenda through movies onto us. That it's like, even if we take away the superpowers, right? In our society, who are the real heroes? Who are the firefighters? Who are the policemen that actually do things? I swear to God, if they send me a policeman, a policewoman to my apartment, if I'm getting broken into and they send me a woman, I might as well defend myself. I'm going to be taller and stronger than you.
I just think that there are women in these fields, and they risk their lives the same way the men do.
But they do the jobs worse. They do the jobs worse.
I wouldn't say that.
How could you not?
Maybe their skill set isn't the same as a man. They don't have the same physical strength, etc. But they are still facing the same risk factors of the men on the job.
And
so I think it's crazy.
And they should do the jobs that are good to our skill set. Paperwork.
Yeah, or cooking.
But that's their MO. If that is their calling, and I think there should be a certain respect. They're risking their lives for the safety of others.
I'm not saying that we can't respect them. I'm just saying, like, I don't think a woman can be as good of a police officer as a man because she's not as strong. And oftentimes, police officers get their guns taken away by criminals all the time. Men do. So it's like, if you're a woman, you're way more likely to get your gun taken away. I think women can be good for maybe de-escalating situations. But when it comes to someone's breaking into my apartment and they send me especially here, there's no guns here. You're going to send me a woman with a taser? Come on. I'm like, send me the man. Especially if a man's attacking me.
Let's be honest, we're in England. They would never come in general. No one would show up.
Yeah,
you could be bleeding on the side of the road. The ambulance isn't going to come until the next day when you're dead. It's a dead body on the floor.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, but you understood the point I'm making. It's like they're pushing women in these movies to be in roles they would never be in.
I think it's more of a
even CEOs. Let's take out the superheroes. CEOs. You know how many CEOs that are women are in these movies? I was watching Girls Trip, and all the CEOs were women. I'm like, we know damn well that in real society, all these women are not CEOs.
I mean, I don't know enough about the statistics on that or what the number of female CEOs are, but I mean, it's 2023. There's plenty of females in positions of power.
It is the current year.
It
is 2023.
Let me ask you a question. Okay. Name one male billionaire.
Jeff Bezos.
Name one female billionaire that did not inherit her wealth through her husband.
I don't know.
But that's the point. That's the point.
Boom.
So it's like, you don't have to know stats to know what we see.
Okay.
Like, that's why a lot of times people will die on these stats. But it's like, sometimes we can just look at what's in front of us.
Okay, this is how I see that. So if you look at I had a class in junior college, and this is what I was taught. This is what I know about that topic. Majority of the money in the world is shared by the top 1% of people. It's not flowing through the economy. Majority of the top 1% of people are white men that are hoarding that wealth. So when I think about that, I see racial inequality. I see systemic racism has played a role in that. I see that white men have built America up and still control it to this day. That's what I see when I look at that. So.
Yeah, I disagree.
I know you do, Nick. I know you do.
I agree that white men built America, but it's the Jews that run it now. Big transformation happened 70 years ago because it used to be a white elite, and there were actually quotas, like Jews couldn't go to college past a certain number. And
do you believe we should bring back those quotas?
I don't know if it's a quota, but it should go more to a meritocratic system, because right now it's not meritocratic at all. Like, because the rebuttal is always something like this. They say, well, Jews are higher IQ. They perform better on the tests. Well, they're overrepresented by 2,000%. They don't do 2,000% better on the tests. And there's a great article on this called The Myth of American Meritocracy by Ron Unz, and he breaks it down, and he shows the test scores that people get, and they're not testing well enough to be overrepresented that much. So clearly it's accounted for by something else, which is legacy admissions. You know, if they're doing it by merit, it's going to be a lot of Asians. It's going to be a lot of Asians and a lot of white people.
So what percent of, like, the 1% are Jewish? Like the
It's a lot of them.
Really? Like,
yeah.
What percent?
I don't know what the...
Would you consider Jewish white to you?
I think that...
When you say rich white men.
Okay, so when we are talking about race, right? Race is a social construct. It's a social construct. Like, I look at you. Okay, so if I look at a Jewish person, I look at them and I would say that they're white, because I look at them and I see white. I don't look at them and I'm like, oh, you're obviously Jewish because what, you have like a larger nose, because that's the stereotype, right?
Based.
Whatever. Anyways, so like someone looks at me, I'm white. But you could see someone who is like black, but they appear white. They're white presenting, and you see them as white. So if you're walking down the street, but whatever, I'm going to say that you're white, and then someone else, I could say, oh, well, she's actually Jewish, but maybe I think she's Mexican, so I'm going to say that she's Hispanic. So
what do you think about her saying that so let's just say she includes Jewish people in with white men. So what do you think about her saying that rich white men control society, and it's because of racial inequality?
It's about IQ is what it comes down to. When you look at the distribution of wealth in the world, it all comes down to, if the number one predictor of success for an individual is IQ, that's also true with the success of nations. And so look at the two dominant civilizations in the world today. It's Western white Christian civilization, and increasingly it's specifically Chinese East Asian civilization. Average IQ of China, Japan, South Korea is comparable to the average IQ of Western Europe, white Americans, white Canadians, and Australians. If you look at sub-Saharan Africa, average IQ is a standard deviation lower. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't have high IQ Africans. You actually have quite a bit of them. And by 2100, there's going to be 4 billion Africans. A lot of them are going to be high IQ. But the average is going to be lower. So there's going to be more lower IQ proportionally than there are white people. And so in terms of, why do you have more white people? If you call it the top 1%, I mean, that's really...
What about them hoarding the wealth? What do you think
of that?
That's
not... I don't think that's true. Because, where do they hoard the wealth? When people say they hoard the wealth, where? Do they have cash? Do they have, when Elon Musk has $250 billion net worth, what does that mean? Does he have $250 billion in cash in a mattress? He has stock in very valuable companies like Tesla. So the money's not even liquid. It's in the company. The value is the company. Are we going to say that Tesla, being a company that's worth as much as it is?
It's kind of like how they'll say, I'm a millionaire because of my YouTube channel, but I don't have $1 million in my bank account. But if someone was to value the YouTube channel, arguably it's worth more than $1 million.
Right.
But
I
think that's what he's saying with the billionaires. A lot of times the money is in the company. It's not necessarily in the bank account.
Understood.
Which creates jobs. When you invest in real estate or you invest in business, because that's where that's where the wealth is. It creates jobs, it creates value. And, what would people be doing if they had wealth anyway? I mean, the thing is, poor is a mindset. Poor is not how much money you have. Poor is, if we were to give poor people $10,000, you know what they would do? They would spend all of it immediately on alcohol, cigarettes, lottery tickets. Now, some of them, you could say, well, they would be like the Pursuit of Happiness of Will Smith, and they go and buy a degree or something. But the vast majority, it's like drug dealers, or not drug dealers, homeless people. If you gave homeless people $10,000, do you think that would solve their problems? No, they would blow it immediately on crack, or cocaine. And so, that's why, wealth is something. Ayn Rand said this. I don't like Ayn Rand, but it's true. You don't hold wealth. You sort of, I don't know, this isn't the exact quote, but you sort of command wealth. If you're not somebody who has a rich mindset, you will lose all your money. It's why people win the lottery will wind up poorer than they were before they won, because they go and they blow it all. They spend more than they have. So really, people's wealth is kind of connected to their cognitive class.
What do you think? Do you think he's right or wrong?
I think that there's truth in things he's saying, yes.
Oh.
Let's go.
I asked on Twitter if I would get banned off YouTube for having you on.
Yeah.
I got some mixed responses. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
There was a need for feminism, first wave feminism, right?
Oh, do you think there's more than one wave of feminism?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Really?
It's all feminism though.
I feel like it was all the same. It was always freedom without responsibility. I think it was always the same. They planned assassinations in the late 1800s. Feminists.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on. Anarchists, feminists, The germ of the idea is fundamentally true, though, and that is the radical notion that women and men are equal. And I've always said this, you either believe that premise or you don't. And if you do, then everything just has to unfold. All the things that seem crazy, like lady cops and everything, like if you believe that women and men are equal, it's an imperative that you would have female cops and female soldiers because women and men are equal. But people go, well, no, that's too far. It's like, it's not a matter of degree. Like, oh, it's too far from some arbitrary point. If you agree women and men are equal, then it must be so. It's just a matter of sorting it out. If you think they're not equal, well, then it's a different premise.
I feel like I could see women cops being useful when it comes to de-escalating certain situations, but that's really it.
Right. But they're not going to charge in to an active shooter.
I've just heard there's, I met with someone that was talking about like personal security, just because we've had some. I'm not going to name names. There was a crazy woman that showed up in my apartment at a certain hour, and my front security did nothing about it. I'm not going to name names, but if I had to, Victor, Esther, anyways. Now, so I was looking into like more personal security, and he was saying how it's good to have women security guards, not necessarily because they can do like with a guy, just because sometimes they can better like, if at a bar or like someone's drunk or something, they can get the guy to calm down better than like a man can because he'll perceive the man as like a threat. And I was like, I could see that being helpful.
I'd want a big guy instead.
No, but it's not the woman alone. It's like with the guy.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so it's like, because at the end of the day, she can't throw the guy out.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
But I'm saying the only way I could see police officer women being like, really useful is with like,
or because they're hot. Like, to me, the idea of women cops is funny. It's ineffective because one, it's hilarious, and like it's hilarious just to witness, but also it's like totally a turn on. You know, like if you get pulled over by a lady cop, it's like impossible for me not to be totally patronizing and be like, hey, what's the problem, officer? You know? Okay, she doesn't like that. You know, come on. You disagree?
I didn't say anything, Nick.
Okay.
Your face says it all.
Come
on.
on.
Speak for me then.
First wave feminists would want nothing to do with third wave feminists, which is where we're at today, right? Women that think that actually first wave feminists, you could argue, envied men. Right? They wanted to be able to go to work. They wanted to have that option to be something outside of the home. Right? Now we have that option, and we're being told the exact opposite, which is that if everything in the home is bad, and that's what you call throwing out the baby with the bathwater. There are some really amazing things. I think the best things that come from being at home. Sometimes I think we got the bad end of the deal. Right? I'm like, wait, we got to stay at home and do nothing and spend our husband's money, and somebody complained?
Yeah.
That's a joke, guys.
That's a joke. But no, and to me, I think that's the part where, you know, I've unfortunately seen that happen so much in society, that there's such a mischaracterization to me of what people think as stay-at-home mothers and traditional women. There's such a mischaracterization, like these women were prisoners,
right?
You know, and so whereas, like you said, I think first wave feminism wanted women to have a choice, but then third wave, the choice is gone. You must choose what we want for
exactly
you, right?
What we want is you need to be top 40 Forbes company, a corporation. If you don't have that, then you somehow failed. And I'm like, that is so backwards and so wrong. And it also goes against biology. You know, it goes against biology. There's a reason, biological underpinning to everything that we have in this society. People keep trying to outthink biology. It doesn't work that way, right? There's a reason, you know, women can carry children and men can't. So that instantly allows man to have different goals in terms of the workforce than women, because that means we have to make a decision. Do we have children? Or continue working in our career, or try to juggle both. Men don't have that same pressure, and it's not their fault. They didn't design this. You know, men weren't like, well, I have an idea. Let's not be able to carry children. Only let women be able to do that. And so there's the biological reality of that, and increasingly you see women that go for it in terms of their career because they have the societal pressure, and then it's too late. And then they realize, wow, this job is not making me happy, but my gosh, can I just tell you as a new mom what you feel like when your son smiles at you? Like, you know, when your baby looks up at you, there's no greater feeling of accomplishment. Like there is not. I have accomplished a lot in my life.
Do you think Oprah would give up all her money for children?
I don't know. Oprah got a lot of money. That's a lot of money to give up. Fuck them kids. Sorry. Give me the cash.
I don't know. She doesn't have kids? I don't know anything about Oprah. Yeah.
She's a billionaire.
Is it because she's black?
What's that?
Is it because she's black?
No, because I don't watch Oprah. I'm a guy. Why would I know anything about Oprah?
I don't know. Oprah's very well known.
Not by me. I don't. It's a white woman thing. But I don't know. Well, she's a certain kind of person. Clearly she chose her career, her show, all that. I don't think she'd give it up for kids. But then again, I don't know. I don't know anything about Oprah, so maybe. But there is something about what she's saying, which is like, your child. That's just what I think. Even as a guy, like, I obviously don't want to be doing, like, I'm not a mother, so I don't see myself pushing the stroller.
You're not a
and
mother?
all that.
Question mark?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not really motherly. But, when I think about having kids, that to me seems like the most fulfilling thing. And I imagine more so for a woman. And when I think about, like, the prospect of your even an above average woman in the workforce, what does that look like? I mean, what is like if you have like a high level job in society, what does that mean? You're like a really good salesperson. You're like a really elite salesperson at a big firm. It's like you sell insurance. It's like, does a woman or anybody for that matter think selling insurance and going to some like stupid Christmas party is more fulfilling than like a child looking at you when you come home and saying, mommy's home or something like that? It's got to be the kids. That's what it's all about. If there's anything that is good in the world about like the world in itself, it's family. And that's not to say work isn't good, honest work, entrepreneurship, creativity, that's all fine and well. But if there's anything that comes close to the kind of ecstasy in heaven, it's the love of family. So I just can't imagine it competing in any way.
I think it's interesting. So my little sister, she always said that what she wants to be when she grows up is a wife and a mother. And it's interesting how I used to feel when she would say that. I would feel like, why are you focused on that? Why you should think about your career. What do you want to do? What do you want? You can't depend on a man. You can't think like that because A, B, C, and D. But now when I think about that, especially like after the passing of my mother, who was a homemaker, on her death certificate, occupation homemaker, the value of that as a job is far greater than any career that I could ever, at this point in my life, see. Being a mother, being a wife, like family. So I can agree with that 100%. But I also think that is the Italian. The Italian in us. We are very family oriented.
How many people came to your mom's like celebration of life?
Well over 300.
Wow.
People that she went to elementary school with, people that, neighbors that we didn't even have a relationship with, coworkers from years ago. It was incredible.
Who do you think copes better to not having children, men or women?
Definitely men. And that's because women, their entire biology is based around their ability to carry a child. People don't even realize that, but their whole consciousness is about, when you think about human beings as like animals, basically, not that we are, but we are animalistic we're natural in a certain sense. What does it take for a woman, for a human female to be able to carry another human being and then unconditionally love and raise a human being? It's like a selfless, it's very much about dependent personal relationship. For a woman not to have a husband and a child is devastating from a woman's consciousness, like to a woman's brain, in a way that it isn't for a man. A man can be independent. It's very women. I wouldn't say never, but very few women can be independent. And that's not a bad thing. Human beings depend on each other. Nobody is totally independent.
I think a lot of times women that are in business and do well have men behind them often. And I would use myself as an example because it's like my manager's a guy. My dad, I could probably go to my dad for more advice with everything. And it's like, I don't think I could do it if I didn't have like men helping me. So a lot of times these girls that claim to be independent women, the biggest influence in their lives are men. Or the company, like even Oprah's like production company is probably a dude running it.
Yeah, and you find those types of like work relationships all the time that, I saw something on Twitter the other day where it's like women cry when their boss leaves work, because they form even an attachment. It's like a paternal thing with their boss. That's what women do. And there's something that's very cold about our society that says, be independent, take care of yourself. That's a very sick, like cold, emotionless world. We should want a society where people are dependent on each other and count on each other and lean on each other.
And it's really nice, honestly, when it's your family. Like
Yeah.
doing because I grew up in a family business, and it's just like nice to, I don't know, just work with your siblings or whoever on something.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, it's kind of like you get so much, like, I feel like me and my little brother, Adam, Adam's just like, he's just like a really hard worker and just someone I go to. He helps me with the accounting and stuff. Like, I feel like I've gotten so much closer with him in the past year because he helps me with so much stuff. And it's just like, it's so much better when it's within your family versus a stranger.
And you can trust them.
Mm-hmm.
Blood is thicker than water.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer in that. And I have a lot of friends who I consider family, but at the end of the day, there's your family by
Mm-hmm.
blood, and they're your people. And, when people don't, and it's actually a sad thing. I mean, my family was in a certain situation. My mom actually couldn't conceive naturally. I was in vitro.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents couldn't have a big family.
Was your mom older when she had kids?
Yeah.
How old was she?
She was 34.
Oh, okay.
But she had been trying for 10 years.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But she had some issue, and that was the last resort.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually a very big dilemma because, Catholics don't allow that.
Oh yeah. Oh,
But-
I know. When my grandfather, my Nona had a similar. She almost died giving birth to her last child. She was having complications through each pregnancy. My grandfather got a vasectomy. He didn't take communion for 10 years.
Wow. Yeah, and
Do you have
that's.
siblings or is it just you?
I have a twin sister.
Oh, right. I forgot.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
a twin.
Well, and and that's one of the things that's sort of it's not my regret, but I wish that I had a bigger family, because I am Italian, and Italians have big families,
Oh,
and
huge.
so yeah, and my mom. We're sort of like family with all her friends that she grew up with. They came from a very Italian neighborhood. And so all her friends and their families, they're like our cousins and uncles. And they actually have like a huge Italian family. And it's one of the things that I feel like I don't have is like a big family, cousins, siblings. And that is unfortunately the reality for a lot of people because people get married late, have kids late, they have one or two kids. And so not only are there fewer and fewer families, but the families that do exist are getting smaller and smaller. And you think about if you had two worlds in front of you, one world, you had lots of big families at the picnic and playing t-ball and family reunion, intergenerational, things like that, and a world where there's very few families, there's very few children, and when there are, their only child, like, that's a very sad reality that we're living in now.
I think it's a shame that people don't have a lot of siblings. I wouldn't trade my siblings for the world. Like, I love being, like, because I have, total, it's 9 or 10. I grew up with 6. It's kind of weird. I grew up with 6. I was the second to 6. My parents adopted 3 teenagers, and they gave up 1 kid for adoption because my mom was 17. People think that's really sad. It probably was, but we, like, reunited with him later. But it's just... I don't know. There's just something like that you get from your siblings that you will just never get from a stranger.
Yep.
And, it's kind of putting all your eggs in one basket if you just got one sibling. I don't get along with all of my siblings. You know what I mean? There's 1 or 2 that we bicker a bit, but it's nice. If one's being a bitch, I can go to the other one. If one's being a dick, I can go to my other brother. So I think it's a shame, and especially only children. Like I could not grow up as an only child.
You can definitely tell when someone's an only child, 100%.
You can
Social,
always,
you can tell during a social interaction if they're an only child, 100%.
Even just one. Like, you ever wish you had brothers?
All the time. I really do. And that's the thing. Human beings are the most valuable thing that we have when you think about it. Our relationships with people are the most valuable things that we have. And the idea that we're going to trade that, when I hear this stuff like career and lifestyle, we're trading relationships, the most important relationships in our lives that would be in our lives for what? Like a condo? Like, think about that. A vacation, experiences, because that's what it comes down to, is novel experiences. Well, I would have had lots of kids, but I wanted to see the world. It's like the world's basically the fucking same. Like, you go to Holiday Inn anywhere, it's like you change the scenery, change the food, go to a food court.
Well, and you can okay. People will say that I'm out of touch and privileged when I say this, but you can travel the world with the family. People don't. When I grew up, we always lived like a lower lifestyle, even though we had more money. So like whenever we traveled on vacation, my mom would only do sandwich. We never flew. We drove from Chicago to Washington, and like we traveled every summer as a family for like a month of the summer. But it was a lot of planning. It was a lot of like kind of roughing it, like staying at Airbnbs where you're like sharing bunk beds and shit. But a lot of people like they don't want to do that, and maybe some people can't afford to or whatever. But I think people could see the world more than they think they could if they were willing to like plan it, actually go down in light. Like you can't eat out the whole vacation, drive everywhere. But who wants to drive 18 hours? No one.
Yeah.
in a car stuffed with the kids where someone's screaming. Like, no.
Yeah. I just think travel's overrated. I think everything's overrated. There's not.
No,
I think race mixing's overrated.
I think travel does give you. I think travel does give you perspective, and I do think that, especially family vacations, like because we would go on these vacations, right, and we'd all whine and complain about going, right, because we're like, I miss my friends, dad, blah blah blah, spoiled kids, right. So my mom, they'd take us, and then like we had to hike 10,000 feet. This was hell. This was the worst thing ever. But at the end of the vacation, you feel so much closer with your family because you climb 10,000 feet together, and all your siblings can complain about mom and dad together, and you just have this camaraderie. Like,
yeah, I mean, a family vacation is one thing. I mean, if people are going to defer children or family for that,
right?
To me, it's like, the things in themselves. What you're talking about is it's about the connection.
Yeah.
It's about sharing it. When people say like, well, I just want to make money and I want a job, it's like life is very tedious and kind of sucks. Like you wake up every day, you brush your teeth, you tie your shoes, you eat. It's basically the same thing every day. The one
except for us, because we talk for a living.
Except for us, because we have an awesome content creator life, which is true. But it's still very monotonous. Mm-hmm. The one thing that makes it deep and rich are the connections that we have with the people closest to us. And for a lot of people, that's the crisis in the West right now. They can't count on one hand how many close, deep, intimate relationships they have. Friends, family, loved ones, things like that. If you're in a big family, there's a lot of people like that. If you're a single person, you're whatever, living in the fast lane, Sex in the City lifestyle, slim pickings.
It's also like your family. You can kind of cap to people that aren't your family, and they're not going to always tell you the truth. Where if my brother or my sister starts explaining like a situation where maybe they're in a fight with someone else in the family, I've known them their whole life. I'll be like, so-and-so, you're kind of being a dick. You've always been a dick. Yep. I'll be like, so-and-so, I'm not going to name names in the family. I'm actually not, because blood is thicker than water. But it's kind of like you have more of a background of the person, where it's like someone that you don't know. This is why I believe family should be your therapist. Because it's like, if I go to a problem and tell a stranger, they're not going to have all the background. Right. Where it's like your family has known you. They've known you for years, hopefully, right? But a lot of people aren't close with their families anymore.
Yeah, especially the parents. That's the saddest. There's so much that has been lost because, family as an institution works for so many reasons. There's so many benefits. And unfortunately, people look at it as baggage, weighing them down, slowing them down in their fast little life. And when you stop, I think when a loved one dies, those are the types of disruptive moments when you stop and you consider how much is really there, how much value is really there. And it's just such a tremendous social and moral loss for mankind that we're moving into an anti-family, anti-life society. And like I said, it's just about these experiences and these kinds of like hookup, one-off, interested relationships. The other thing understated about family is that most relationships that are not family are an interested relationship, meaning that you're brought together because both have an interest in the other. Like you're doing something for them and they're doing something for you. And we don't like to put it that way, but even like with friendships, like you do it because it's a good time. Well, what if it stops being a good time? Like, are they going to be there for you? Like when you can't provide them with a good time, or when, you have different values, or all those kinds of things. And that's not to say that people can't have friends, but the sexual hookups, when people live this party lifestyle, again, it's like, are these real? Are these people that are really with you? Family, the reason why blood is thicker than water is because, they're all you got, like you're born into it, you're given it, and they can like you, not like you, disagree with you. You may not have anything to give them, but they're still yours. They're still related to you. And that's a big part of why people are really falling apart. It's because everybody's just this atomic individual, and everybody's figuring it out. Life is very hard. We can't all figure out life on our own. We need to lean on people, older, younger, horizontally, siblings, and without family, it's very hard to come by that. So
I do have a question. So a lot of things I hear my friends say nowadays is part of the reason they don't want to have children is because the state of the world and where it's headed, they are afraid for the future, and they think it's selfish to start a family. So what would you say about that? Because I can empathize with that. It is like seeing where the world is headed. I do feel scared to bring children into the world.
I feel like that's kind of a lame excuse, because the world's always been a terrible place. I mean, you wouldn't be here if your great ancestors didn't have kids during like World War I or like the plague or whatever. Stuff was really bad just a few hundred years ago. By comparison, things are pretty good now. And on the contrary, if people are concerned, having kids is a way that you can be the change that you want to see in the world. If the world is such a terrible place, have kids, teach them right from wrong, and they're the future. We're creating the future all the time. I feel like so often people say, society, the future, we're society, we're the future, it's us. Who else, what else is it other than us? Like, we're the masters of fate. Well, God is, but we're the vehicle for it, so we have to channel it.
Wow. Okay.
With my career, and I can tell you there is nothing that satisfies me more than just my baby smiling at me. And we're taking that away from women because we're telling them that's the wrong aspirations to have in life.
Another thing that I've noticed going on in society is that there is a lot of cynicism towards men as well. And you've talked about it, as well on your show and on different platforms. And I've noticed that a lot of women, similar to like what the media does, it projects such a negative, cynical view of men in society. Of men are going to take advantage of you, they're going to beat you, they're going to get you pregnant and leave you. There's such a negative view of men. So for women who may have a negative view of men because of maybe personal experience, whether their father may have not been there or because of whatever society painted to them, how would you encourage them? How would you motivate them to not be as cynical and to be more optimistic when it comes to men?
I think it's a self-perpetuating problem, meaning that there are crappy men in the world, right? But men are crappy because we've created a system where manhood has become obsolete. You keep increasingly telling men more and more they can't matter. When I say, who are they being told that by? They're, like I said, there's more sinister implications here of why we're making manhood obsolete. When we're saying masculinity is wrong, this is backwards. You don't need a man. You can just have a baby without a man. You're starting to see that sort of programming happening with young women. When you're telling women to act like men, you should aspire to the things that men naturally might aspire to. When you remove the more natural feeling of men being providers and women being nurturers, which is a beautiful yin and yang that just works, right? So you're creating men to feel obsolete, and then women are complaining because men aren't being men. It doesn't work that way, right? And not only that, then increasingly you're telling women to be the opposite of what I think men want, right?
The funny thing is they'll say they don't need men, but it's like we need men to function in society. And we wouldn't live without men. Like, who do you call when you get your car fixed? To get your car fixed? Who do you call if the power line goes out? Who do you call if the internet goes down? Who do you call? Who do you call if someone breaks into your apartment? It's always a man.
Yeah.
But they'll act like they don't need men. The second thing is honestly, if you make a guy feel needed, like whether it's romantically or just in a family way, like men are so willing to help you with everything, even in a way that, in my opinion, women just don't do as much.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you know, when she talks about men, masculinity being obsolete, it's like masculinity is something that everybody's against. You know, like when you think about the most masculine guys, the like guys that all the guys like, you think about guys like Donald Trump or like Andrew Tate or like Alex Jones. These are like guys. And all these guys are banned from everything.
And they tell them to communicate like women. That irritates.
Yep.
Oh, I don't like your tone.
Yes.
Well, because you want them to communicate like a girl communicates, and they're not women.
Yeah.
They're not women.
They want to be sensitive and, this dangerous rhetoric. The things he says are offensive. They're insensitive.
Have you ever been in a men's locker room? I personally haven't. But I can guarantee if girls were, we would be offended.
Oh, yeah.
The same way if a guy went in on our wine nights, I'm sure he would be offended. She's like, like men talk to men in a different way than they talk to women, and that's okay. But we try to make men. It just irritates me. He needs to be more emotionally available. You hate the men that are emotionally available. I see y'all fucking the guy that's not. I'll tell you something on my show. This is a crazy thing. You'll see two people go at it, right? And this girl will like be bitching at the guy the whole show. After, I swear to God, these girls will like be trying to sleep with him. Same they hate him the whole show.
Yeah, no surprise. That's the thing. They'll say they don't want it, but that is exactly what they want. I mean, they 100%. Everyone knows it. I mean, because girls will say that's part of the sickness.
I hate that guy.
Yep. Yeah. They pretend like they want the simp or the beta orbiter.
Okay, there's a certain. Okay, you know who it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, they had that falling out on the show. You know who?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. They were like, I don't know if they hooked up after, but yeah. And I'm just like, and she always is talking about how much she hates him, this, and this. And I'm like, I saw y'all after the show. You were all over him. So how are you going to say you?
What do you always say? Love is closer to hate.
Yeah.
It's a thin line between love and hate. That's what they say.
Both strong emotions.
Yeah, and that you find that everybody knows that. I feel like everybody knows that. Like I was going to say the other night on the show, maybe you guys aren't going to like this, but I feel like this is true.
Uh-oh.
You know, so I'll just say full disclosure, because we talked about like domestic abuse or whatever, and I think that's wrong, okay? But here's the thing. As much as women say abuse, violence against women, I feel like if a woman knows that a man is not capable of violence against her, she knows for a fact he would never raise a hand. There's not even uncertainty. You know, she just knows he's not that kind of guy. I feel like she doesn't like that. I feel like a woman wants a guy who she, on some level, is like physically afraid of.
You don't want him to beat up you, but
right.
Like you want him to be able to beat up. You know, you want a guy that can beat up somebody, Gabby.
Well, I can beat up somebody, so hell yeah, I want a guy that can beat up somebody too. We'll beat them up together.
It's like a nuclear weapon. It's like we would never use a nuclear weapon, but like people need to know it's there. You know, like people, in order to act right, people need to know it's there. Because at the end of the day, look, guys are the way we are. I'm very much of the opinion that as human beings, you know, we know what it means when we say we're human. We live in this UN corporate sterilized society where we're going to pretend like we're all robots. We're all like girl-friendly robots. Hi, like I don't want to kill anyone. I don't want to punch anybody. I just want full consent, and I just want to sign on the dotted line and push a button and get my green bean cube food. I want to get my Soylent Green. When in reality, human beings are very disturbed and twisted and sick. And we have like, you know, you think about like an Oedipus complex, like modern Reddit people would say, that's fucked up. Oh, he wanted to fuck his mom. That's fucked up. And it's like, but that's how human beings are. There is like a deep, disturbing mystery at the center of our existence, which is the tension between good and evil, between soul and flesh. And to sort of hand wave all that away and say like, we all just need to be nice to each other. It ignores our nature, and that it makes everybody unhappy.
I think we should be meaner to each other.
I agree.
I think that we have gotten too tolerant as a society. I would like to see intolerance. I would like to see an increase in judgmentalness.
Yeah.
I would like to see a more judgmental society. I would like to see more outcasts. I would even go as far as to maybe a banishing here and there. I think that would be fun. Banished from society, and more I got the judgmental, the outcast.
More roughhousing.
Yeah, I do think that men should beat each other up more. I feel like there's a lot of kids that
That's
need to...
the only thing that you said that I agree with.
I think there should be...
Men should fight more.
I think that men
and women should fight more.
I think that there are a lot of men and women as children that needed to be bullied more and needed to get their ass beat on both sides. On both sides. Women, it should be more of a verbal bullying, because that's how we bully. For men, it should be more of a physical. I do believe in bullying because it teaches you.
Okay, but respectful bullying. Bullying is not okay.
I mean, we shouldn't be like having people commit suicide. Like, that's obviously too
But
far.
I do agree with the fact that it builds character.
Yes.
Just there has to be a line. It can't go too far. And some people can't handle bullying. Some people can't.
Well, we should raise them so they can.
That's fair.
We just have to be okay with like bad things. I feel like the old school mentality is just sort of like this resignation and acceptance about the way of the world. And then there's this liberal attitude that's like, we have to fix everything, every crime, it's like in the old days, if people were not behaving the way they were supposed to, like horrible things would happen. Or some people are just very unlucky, they just like lose the genetic lottery and they just have like a bad, sad life. And I feel like the old school mentality is like, that's just how it is. What are we going to do? They'd have all these old expressions. It's like, hey, like a little kid drowned in the lake. Shouldn't have been playing by the lake. Maybe that was just God's plan. Nowadays it's like, we need to put a fence and we need to do this and we need to do that as an analogy with everything. Even like with the sex stuff.
That's not a good example.
It's like with the sex
in the lake
stuff.
And then a fence, putting up a fence.
That's what they want to do. They want to put a fence around every lake.
If you could prevent another child from drowning in the lake, why would you not put up a fence?
Because some kids are going to drown, okay? And that's just the way of the world. We got to let them drown.
But if they don't have to drown, why would we let them drown?
We cannot prevent every bad outcome.
You can try.
To an extent.
But see, this is like a female versus male view on the world because women, I feel like naturally we want to protect the kids, where the men are like,
fuck them kids.
No, but this is like, because the men are more disciplined. Like they look like, that's why you see all these like men from single mother homes committing all these crimes because they didn't have a dad to kick their ass. Like the women, oh, poor baby, we need to make sure.
I don't know. Listen, a lot of the kids I know that grew up in single mother homes, because if the mother felt like they had to overcompensate, would beat their kids like they would go above and beyond because they feel like they have to overcompensate and go harder and be more disciplinary than if a man was in the house. I'm not saying that it makes up for not having a father figure. That is a huge loss in the development.
But at the end of the day, a young boy, he's not going to be afraid of getting beat up by his mom.
Yes.
You think?
Oh yeah, girl. Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, what's the mom really gonna do?
When you're
at the end of the day, what's the mom really
get the wooden
do?
spoon?
Like,
I got the wooden spoon once.
That's the Italian way.
That is the Italian way.
My mom hit me with the wooden spoon or two.
I got it once.
I got it a couple times. I had temper tantrums when I was a kid. Yeah,
I was well behaved for the most part.
I wasn't. We had too many kids. It was like we all wanted the attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it was like sometimes we'd act up.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like we have too much of like a rules-based society. It's gone too far towards the maternal, towards the lunar, towards the chthonic, towards those things. We need to go back towards fire. We need to go back towards chaos. That's like what the world wants. That's like what ISIS is about. That's what Trump is about. The world wants a burning. The world wants burning right now. And we're going to give it to them. We're going to provide that.
In the instant, when men are not thinking with their big heads and they're saying, oh, whoa, she's half naked, great, I'm going to go for it. Yeah. That might be what a man wants. But long term, that's not what a man wants. A man doesn't want a girl that's just going to be naked all the time and put herself out there available for every man to see. That I don't have to be a man to know that that's not what men want. Yeah. So then you say men suck. And I ask this question all the time. You complain about men, but are you being the type of a woman that a man would want, right? It's a self-perpetuating problem. And then you say that and they, oh my God, Candace is a horrible human being. And I'm looking at you going, I'm not a dude. I wouldn't date you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so again, self-perpetuating problem, not enough women calling out the fact that women are not desirable right now, in my opinion, right? They're sexually desirable, but I wouldn't want to take you home to mom desirable. And then you have men who are being hit over the stick and being told, man, bad, masculinity, bad, who need to be told, no, stand up, tuck your shirt in, right? Be a leader, be what a man is supposed to be. And that dies when we're not even allowed to say man and woman anymore. And that gets me into the transgender, and I could rant for 3 hours on that. So
No, Candace.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think the men got to be men. And that's patriarchy. The real red pill is that patriarchy is real and it's a good thing and we should want it. We got to let the guys be guys. And right now, the other thing, too, with education specifically is the education system's run by women. Like, I don't know about you, but when you're in, like, grade school, it's all female teachers.
So I think it's 80 to 90% women.
Yeah. The whole across the board. And it all caters towards women. There's no, like, hey, let the boys be boys. Let them do their thing. Like when you talk about even bullying, the roughhousing's very much part of the male experience. The roughhousing, the trash talk, all of that. And when you strip all that away, and make everybody like a good boy or whatever, you're turning them into these like emasculated, neutered guys who can't do any. And we're not even talking about like they can't make war. They also can't make symphonies. They also can't create philosophy. They also can't invent things. You're cutting off like the fundamental attribute of masculinity, which is like this reaching out, what you would call risk-taking, adventurousness. And so it's an anti-male society. That's why it's going away. That's why it's disappearing.
Well, I think we can cut the video there. You have any final thoughts?
I never thought I would sit down and have a conversation with a known white supremacist, but here we are. Thanks for having me, Pearl.
Thanks for coming on.
Nick, I wish I had nicer things to say. All I have to say is, black men, I love you.
Gross.
Love you.
I love black people too, but stick with your own.
And my black women love you. I love you.
What do you think about Ye? Do you think he was wrong for his new wife?
Yeah, and I told him that.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did he react?
He said, like, she's really hot. And he said, that she's an architect and they relate on that level. And, but I also think that he is like a genius. He's clearly like a top tier human being on earth, like in history. And I also feel like when it comes to people like that, the rules just don't even really apply. When I think about the top tier people in the world in history.
Well, it's kind of like the top tier women were being like, wouldn't they kind of be, wouldn't they be offered to like other leaders? Maybe I'm wrong, but wouldn't they be offered to other leaders as like a way to bring countries together?
Yeah.
So
all the time.
So they kind of were the first like mixing.
Maybe Australia and America.
Yeah.
Coming together under a united presidency. But so I mean, I'm not a fan of it, but but it's his life. And also when you make 11 great studio albums, you can kind of, do whatever you want at that point. I'm fine with it.
Well, I wish you luck, and
I don't.
Wow.
I really don't. I don't wish luck to racists.
Oh, I'm not racist.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are, Nick.
Yeah, I am a little bit racist.
I know.
But listen, it's not because I hate people. I love people. It's just race is real. Race is real. Race is a part of us. So, hey, it is what it is.
And the Italians, we do not claim you.
Oh, hey, the Italians don't claim you. You're the one dating a black guy. The Italians don't claim me. They don't claim you.
Oh, no, they claim me. They claim me.
I don't think so.
They do.
Italian guys, yeah.
Italians,
tell an Italian guy about your
lovers.
affinity for black guys. That'll go over real well.
Good one, Nick.
Maybe some brajol. There's some Italian.
No, but
you.
I will make my black boyfriend some of that.
Ugh, wow. You don't know any better. But
That's not what I really meant with the final thoughts.
That was a final attack.
I just really wanted to say that this whole time.
Okay, that's fine. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Like the video on your way out, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell. Thank you, both of you, for coming. Appreciate it. And I'll talk to you next time.